All right, welcome back to another edition of the Forts Athletics Life and Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Charles Inferno. We're at Forts Athletics. We equip coaches and athletes with the tools they seek out in order to achieve their unique and specific goals. And we're recording on Wednesday, June 1st. We're just leaving school. It's a beautiful sunny day, but it's looks like the heavens want to open up here a little bit. And our season at Alfred State, and much like 99% of the other athletes that competed at D3 Nationals, has come to a close. Dylan, if you watched or listened to the last episode, Dylan finished 11th at Nationals, just outside of qualifying for finals and earning All-American. And you can listen to that episode about Dylan, and kudos to him. If you would like. This episode is going to be a little different, though, because being the math person that I am, and being the, I don't know what the right word is, person who's a stickler and attention to detail, I always am fascinated at going to nationals. Now, I haven't been there a million times, but I've been there enough to appreciate the fact that when you go, you never know when it's going to be your last time going to nationals. And as men's discus was wrapping up on Thursday, I pulled out my notebook, and in between tears of sadness, I was thinking about the performances that we had seen up until that point. And every time I've been to nationals, either with Jen at Fredonia, Lewis at Nazareth, there always seems to be 2 or 3 or 4 throwers from Flight 1, this is for the throws, that end up making the finals and earning All-American. And I find that really interesting, not because that it's throwers from Flight 1, or competitors from Flight 1. But basically at Nationals, you have 2 flights. It's power seated, so you have 10 throwers in the first flight, and then the next 10 best throwers in Flight 2, and the top 9 go to finals. So in theory, based on what happened on paper and everything leading up until that point, one would assume that you would have your top 9 guys come out of Flight 2. But as I mentioned, that doesn't always happen. So I took to some numbers and I did some math this weekend. And I thought it was really fascinating that the seasonal best marks of the men's discus competition, of the men who competed, the 20 guys, there were only 2 throwers out of 20 that surpassed their seed mark at nationals. So 2 out of 20, so 10% of the guys surpassed their seed mark. And it makes me wonder, what happens from the time that athletes hit huge performances to the time they get to nationals? Now, I'm sure some of you are probably thinking, where's he going with this? But I just find it interesting because when you look at the numbers, the men's discus mark was on average about 3 meters below their seasonal best marks. And I don't know if they were all their PRs this past season. The results kind of talked about that a little bit, but they were off for some athletes and on for some other athletes. So I'm not going by that. So basically, whatever was in TFERS as their top 20 marks are just subtracted their distances that they threw at nationals, and it came out to just a little over 3 meters. So basically, whatever the athletes were seated at, on average, they threw about 3 meters less, except for the 2 gentlemen that surpassed their seed marks that ended up earning All-American status.